Hi, welcome to a brand new episode as part of our Money Matters series. MFA is the only planning firm that caters to the doctor fraternity and has been doing this over the last 17 years in terms of goal-based planning in the personal finance space. Today we have with us Dr. Ashish Joshi, one of our dearest clients who has been with us and is willing to share his personal experience and his entire journey about money with us. Welcome, Doctor. Dr. Ashish Joshi is an oncologist with a rich 20 years of experience in his field. He is the director and co-founder of MOC. MOC is a Mumbai OncoCare center that caters to daycare facilities for cancer patients and is in existence in over 13 cities all over Maharashtra and Indore, and is rapidly expanding all over the country. Dr. Ashish, my first question to you is, what and how are your earliest memories about money? So what has your financial journey with money been?
Yeah, so I think money typically is associated with frugality, saving bank account. This is typical discussion which probably middle class urban society would have in that particular ecosystem. But also, I remember my father always used to say that unless you spend, you will not earn. So there has to be some sort of a incentive for you to go out and work. But nonetheless, a very important component for all professionals, I think for that matter, that money could be a bystander effect. It cannot be a picture, it will be a background, and I'm sure it all comes. That it comes on its way when you're providing the best as far as your professional competence is concerned. You just focus on your core competence, try to provide and give the best to your clients, and of course, in our case, it's patients.
So what would you say are the typical, classic mistakes that a doctor makes? You would have faced so many financial challenges as you set on and have become such a prominent doctor in India today. So what all did you face?
So I think I sort of faced similar challenges, I think, which all of us in my profession, or for that matter many professions, would face. There are certain challenges at the time of entry. So there are few entry barriers. Again, in service providers like us, or for that matter any service providers, the curve is very slow. It takes time for us to get entrenched into a community, entrenched into our so-called clientele, and to build it up from there on. So it requires a lot of drudgery, it requires patience, and I think that those were the challenges. Nothing comes quick. And that is something I think we all need to very, very closely understand. Those were the apprehensions, those were the challenges, and especially in a medical curriculum which is already long drawn. By the time you are out into sort of as a professional, you are upwards of 32 plus. So it's again a bit of a difficult challenge as far as the medical practice is concerned, because the education course is quite prolonged. So these are the typical challenges that we faced, and then once you start, we want to have something very quick, we want to have something very fast, but that doesn't happen. Most importantly, I think you have to enjoy the journey. I think typically what we say in Hindu mythology, that the destination is as important as the journey, and I think that is so true when we talk about any profession, when we talk about service provision for our patients and clients, and we talk about wealth creation in specific.
So we all know what a meticulous person you are when it comes to documenting anything that you have to do, either about your work or about money. And in spite of that, you liked us as a service about what MFA was doing for the doctor practice, and how when we reached out to you and we shared that we could add more value to what you're already doing. So can you please share with us two major changes pre and post MFA coming into your life?
Yeah, so I think pre-MFA, as I mentioned before, we were all ragtag. It was completely disorganized. As a doctor, I think our financial understanding is fairly impoverished. And we we typically used to take decision on perception. Maybe somebody just over a cup of coffee gave me this advice, then you went into this particular investment mode and so on and so forth. But post MFA, I think this hygiene of personal finance is something which was entrenched in our system, and which is very, very important. And the way it was comprehensively looked at, it's just not about putting money in a mutual fund. It's about your insurance, your mediclaim, the way you are setting up your goals, and obviously there was no pressure. It was a completely customized format that you people gave us. I think that made, number one, understand where is our current wealth creation is happening, what is that probably we could achieve, what is that something which we cannot achieve, and most primarily this concept of a goal directed investment, which is pretty new, to be very honest, has helped us as a professional far better in knowing our goals and how we are reaching at them. It also suddenly opens up our mind space for focusing on our professional services better, because the personal finance has been taken care of by a professional body or a professional financial coach, somebody like Komal, who has helped us immensely in shaping up our personal finance, so that we probably don't have to put a lot of energy into it and probably focus on our core competence, which is providing better service.
Absolutely.
So I think that is very important.
Yeah.
So the structuring which happened with MFA has actually dramatically changed in the way you start thinking about finance, specifically personal finance, and also the systematic way of handling things. I think that was also fairly amplified when MFA came into picture.
Yeah. How have you thought about setting aside money for your children and for the other goals?
So I think very important, Chitra, for us to understand as doctors, we never get the concept of inflation into play.
Right.
So at least when you got 1 rupee, let's say in an account, then it should beat that 5-7% at least, and so that money has to be put under stress so as to it beats that, and then you get some delta.
Yes.
So that particular concept is not there, because either we probably work on perception, or probably we are not well informed about it as to where do we put that money into. And then the problem happens, because then you are probably calculating the expenses sitting today. That's not how it happens, because
True.
your goal may be 10 years down the line, and the money that you are calculating right now is going to be extremely insufficient.
Right.
And then you will be hamstrung in executing what you wish to do.
Absolutely.
So and that especially is true when it comes to children's education.
Yes.
I think it's getting costlier day by day as we speak, and a good professional education is expensive.
Yeah.
For all said and done, especially in setting like India, where it's going to be all private schooling for most of our folks around there. So children education and retirement corpus are two very important goals that as a doctors we need to focus on.
Correct.
Because having said so that a doctor would never retire, but the intensity or the adrenaline which is required to run a high-end practice will not last for long. That's very important.
True, very, very true. Dr. Ashish, I wanted to ask you, with having a financial coach now, how does it feel? How does it feel for you?
So I think this huge important aspect of personal finance is sort of sorted, and that gives you a sense of relaxation, a sense of happiness, also a bit of a discomfort, so that you can probably do more. I think that is also equally important.
Right.
So I think it's the heady cocktail of lot of comfort, happiness, and little bit of discomfort that probably you need to push little more. I think that is exactly the chemistry which MFA gets into our personal life and personal finance, and that probably helps you to focus on your core competence, which is what you're professionally made for, and suddenly makes your day much more happier. You can probably start the day with smile and end the day with smile, even if you probably burdened with a lot of professional responsibilities, because at the backdrop your personal finance is largely being taken care of.
Lovely. So thanks a ton for being with us, and thank you for appreciating our service, and we look forward to a fantastic growth coming in from MOC, and see you shine with all of your partners out there.
Thank you so much. Thank you
Thanks
so
for
much.
coming.
It was pleasure speaking with all of you. Thank you so much.